now that they're calling for a dissolution?
You see, democracy is something that's very hard to understand. If you sit and read the real innuendos and the undertones of what it means to be a democratic state, you will actually get surprised. If I put on the balance or on a weighing scale between Uganda and, for instance, South Africa, which one would you easily say is more democratic than the other? Certainly South Africa. Or Kenya. Or the US. But you go there and you find that South Africa has over 1,700 registered political parties. The US has over 50. I think there are 53. Kenya here has over 90. And you got, you know, and those countries are actually more democratic than Uganda. And for us here, we are saying the creation of more political parties is actually killing democracy. No. No. The creation of political parties and the divisions in political parties is but just part of democracy. I mean, democracy thrives on pools and disagreements and agreements. You disagree to agree in most cases. And democracy, like we've all seen, is a game of numbers, game of influence. And every time you wake up, you have to make sure that you have influenced as many people as possible. And someone is going to disagree with you, and they are going to go and make another political formation. So, for me, I think there are people who are in politics that need to understand democracy a little bit deeper. And one would not actually be running for the dissolution of FDC. FDC can coexist with any and every party. Even when PFF comes, there is certainly going to be disagreements, even from the word go. And me, I have been to Katonga. I think 2 weeks ago I was talking to Dr. Kizza Besigye in an interview. And we talked about quite many things, some of which are going to come out in an interview that will be publishing. But even from the onset of PFF,
you see there are disagreements.
There is already disagreements.
Okay.
There is already disagreements. First on how a few things are being organized, how to move, how to transition from the blue of Najana Nkumbi to the blue now of which has been suggested, white and blue and things like that. And such is politics, such is democracy. So looking at the bigger picture of our country having chosen democracy, unless we want to become a monarch, if we have chosen that path, then we need to live by it. And we shall expect this. It's going to happen every other day. Disagreeing to agree is part of the game of politics, part of the game of democracy. And for me, I feel happy because as a baby country in terms of democracy, we are growing and we are making these strides. We've seen what South Africa, for instance, went through to gain the kind of democracy that they celebrate today. It was not just a walk in a park. And we can also look at the US. We can look at Kenya. Still, they have not had a bed of roses in their walk to democracy, to the democracy that probably we might actually be looking at. So we need to just brace ourselves as people who are occupying this political space for many of such. But then how do you move forward? Because at the end of the day, the end justifies the means. That after all the squabbles and fights and stuff, at the end of the day, there has to be an agreement arrived at. I do not blame Dr. Kizza Besigye for whatever he's being blamed. He's just also part of the political question. I would not blame, for instance, Amriat or Muntu or the squabbles that are within NUP and Impuga. I would not even blame the squabbles that are within NRM. I would not blame the squabbles that are in
It's just
DP.
part of the democracy.
It's part of the democracy, and it's going to be here. It's going to live with us for as long as we choose democracy. We have to expect all the fruits that it comes with.